Goldsmith with Piece of Cake, and welcome to Time Out. It is 2 o'clock my time on Wednesday, and I'm happy to see you. Right before I clicked go, I was trying to figure out where to put myself so I didn't look like I had a point coming out of the top of my head. I think I've got it. So that quilt behind me, I thought I'd tell you what it is. I don't have it up often. It is the Hexie Quilt Garden. I hand applique it, but you could machine applique it. And what's fun about it is it's appliqued in wedges. You work on a rectangle, but you trim them and then you sew them together, the applique blocks, into a hexagon. You can set them together all different kinds of ways. This is the way I set it. And I made this quilt because I was really tired at the time of hand appliquing on squares or rectangles. So a different shape. Okay, so that's what that was. And now back to me with no words. What I'm talking to you about this week is a topic that I'm passionate about. Funny enough. And it's posture and balance and strength. All really important things. So to cut to the chase today, I'm going to give you some stretches, some exercises to extremes, some ideas for different ways that you can get your own body to feel better. So you can join me in bringing your seat forward on your chair. Bring your bottom a little bit forward so that you're not slumped back with your low back in a curve, leaning back into the back of your chair. Place the soles of your feet on the floor in front of you, hip distance apart. Keep your knees hip distance apart. Now, people always think their hips are like giant wide. They're really not. If you reach down and find your hip pointers, your pelvis, that's about how far your hip is. So that distance is what you're aiming for. Sit nice and tall with your head balanced over your body, crown of your head high. And before I have you do any more moving, understand that everybody's body is different. And not everybody is mobile. And if you have a fused neck, if your back is a mess, if you've got problems, never do an exercise that you're unsure of, that you should check with your doctor before you do. Never. So if I'm showing you to do something and you're unsure, well, you just sit there and watch and take it in and think about it and talk to your doctor. All right, the rest of you who are, kind of in the big normal area, sit tall, crown of your head high. Tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder. And you'll notice, like inside my head, I feel like my ear is like way down there by my shoulder, but in actual fact, it isn't. It's a subtle move. Inhale, bringing the crown of your head high. Tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder, keeping your head balanced over your body. And then bring your head high. Bring your chin toward your chest. And then tilt your head high. If you have been sitting and sewing, just that is going to limber you up some. But I want to give you a little more information because most people are unaware that the average human head weighs more than 8 pounds, 10, 12, depending on the size of your head, it's going to weigh more or less. Did you know that a gallon of water weighs 8 1/3 pounds? I looked it up on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on the internet. 8 1/3 pounds. Now I'm holding this here, and let me tell you, it is no easy deal to hold it up here. My head's heavier than that. Take a moment and think about how much weight you are balancing here on the end of your neck. And then once more, Sit tall on the front of your chair, feet on the floor in front of you, knees hip distance apart. Shoulders, roll them up and a little bit back. Let them relax. Tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder. And now, imagine the weight that's being exerted just by your head being tilted off center. Inhale the crown of your head high. Tilt your left ear toward your left shoulder. And again, feel the weight. But don't mess your neck up. Crown of your head high. Tilt your head forward. I really feel the weight here and up. And then take a moment and feel what it feels like with your head balanced over your body. And then think about what's happening when you're sewing, right? Those of you who sew by hand at night, as I do, or by the daytime, when you're sewing, sitting on the sofa, are you hunched over like this, over your lap? It's not a good plan, because not only does your head weigh, your arms and shoulders, they weigh kind of a lot. So if you're doing this, you're putting too much stress on the back of your neck and your upper spine. So when you sew by hand, you want to have, if you need them, props to help you keep your arms up. So you can use something like a pillow in your lap to support your forearms or your elbows, whatever it is. You can use a pillow, although I usually don't because it's too hot. It's too hot on my lap. You can use something like a lap app. This has adjustable things that screw together so you can make this be flatter or taller or shorter or whatever. And you can place that in your lap. And I know you can't see it, but you can place it in your lap and use that to support whatever part of your arms to take the weight off of your upper body when you're sewing. The other thing is that if you need that support to keep your head balanced over your body, think about the light and where it's coming from when you sew. So if you are right-handed, your light should come from the left. If you are left-handed, the light should come from the right, because otherwise your hand casts a shadow on your work. So let me see here. I've got to... Yes, okay, I clicked that. There's still no words. All right, so that's hand sewing. Being mindful to keep your posture good, the weight of your head balanced over your body, your arms not dragging you forward, your light allowing you to stay upright. One other thing, those of you who hand sew with your elbow up on like the arm of a chair, make sure that you're not leaning into that and, messing up everything up here. All right. What about when you're machine sewing? Then what? I have a trick that really does help your low back. Here we go. When you're sewing and you have one foot on the pedal and one foot on the floor, it throws off your lower back. A really easy way to fix that is to place your non-sewing foot on a book. And my book could be a little thicker because it's just a little bit lower than my foot, my sewing machine foot. But for me, it's the right height, mostly at the heel. I have had machines where the foot pedal encourages me to rest my heel on the floor and then push forward with the front of my foot. If that's the case, you probably want to get a second book and put it at the base of your pedal so that you're keeping your heels relatively level. When your heels are level, it tracks up to your knees, which then goes back your thighs toward your seat. And if your seat is level, your lower back will be happier. If your hips are unlevel and you're sewing and sewing and sewing, it can make your lower back hurt. You know this to be true. So when I'm sewing, I either have 2 books or 1 book. And to be honest, when I'm sewing, I have my pedal on the left and my book on the right because I sew with my left foot and use the knee lift with my right. I'm also careful to keep my feet more together like this, hip distance apart or so, rather than having one foot pushed way forward or off to the side or pulled back behind me. Again, it's because of the way my feet lead into my knees, which lead into my hips. I want to keep everything as stable as possible and as level as possible. Okay, couple of things there, because I filmed that this morning. When I had the camera looking down, it was between my legs, so you couldn't really see that under normal circumstances, my knees would also be hip distance apart. It kind of looked like they were wide. I don't sew that way. I like to keep my legs coming out of my hips and going forward. When I have real trouble, it's when I realize I've jacked one knee or the other off to the side. Never a good plan. The other thing there, in the video, when I talk about the staying level from the thigh to your seat, I'm not talking about your chair seat there. I'm talking about your bottom. I was just trying to find a good way to say bottom, but as I listened to that, I thought, well, maybe some people would think I'm talking about your chair seat. Nope. Seat, bottom, glutes, the hips, that area of your body. Let's see here. I want to make sure I get everything there. All right. So, last thing about the books. I taught a machine sewing class not very long ago, like a week or 2 ago. And I tell them this tip. I always share this when I'm teaching a machine sewing class. And one of the students emailed me like a day or 2 later and said, you know, the books, they're kind of life-changing. That she had spent years with lower back pain after sewing and had bought new chairs and tried everything, and darned if the books didn't do the trick. So it's not expensive. It's easy to test. Give it a shot. Okay, the next thing I want to show you are yoga balls. I've got 2 sizes here. There's the AcuPoint, which is smaller, and the Active Pro, which is a little bigger. And when you order these, I got them on Amazon, it doesn't really say which one's bigger or smaller. They're similar to a tennis ball, this one more similar size-wise than this one, but they're denser. They're a really dense foam that's not hard on the outside. They're squishy, but they're less squishy than a tennis ball. So you could try what I'm about to show you with something like a tennis ball, but if it really works for you, these are actually better. Okay, I'll show you the first video with the balls. Let's see here. Oh, there, that's me giving you the text. I forgot to click forward. So AcuPoint or Active Pro Zone. Okay, and I got mine on Amazon. Here we go. There's my yoga ball. This part of my foot under the balls of the toes, I'm going to place the center of that over the ball and then push into the ball as I run my foot lengthwise to my heel and then back toward the balls of my toes. I'm going to move the ball to the outside of my foot, and I'm running the ball back toward my heels and forward. I'm placing my heel on the floor as I shift the ball over toward the ball of my big toe, and I'm coming back through the arch toward my heel and then back to the front. I'm sitting to show you that it can be done seated, but this is actually easier to do, I think, standing. So you run the ball back and forth down the bottom length of your foot. You can stop and place your heel on the ground and step forward into it, spreading the front part of your foot over the toes. You can rock back and forth. This part is really much better standing when you can put more weight into it. And the same is true when you move the ball closer to your heel and press downward. You can move it just barely in front of your calcaneus, your heel bone, but in all cases, be very careful here. If you have any feet problems that make this feel really bad, then don't do it. Always consult a physician. The other thing you can do is bring the ball under your toes and use it to bend your toes back. You might notice that I'm wearing socks. I'm wearing socks because some people get really weird about looking at feet. I hope my socks are okay with those of you watching. I would not do this with socks on. I would be doing this in my bare feet, and I would be doing it standing. Only put as much pressure on the bottom of your feet as feels good. But even doing this sitting without applying the usual pressure that I give, when I stop, I can tell a difference in the way my feet feel. My right foot feels more limber and awake. I can feel the blood moving around in there. These yoga balls, they're really, really nice. I don't know that you need to see me use the ball on my other foot, but I will, because I don't want to be out of balance. And you think that's crazy, but it's true. If you're going to use the yoga ball on one side, you really need to use it on the other, wherever it is you're using the yoga balls, because you can use them all over your body. What the yoga balls are doing is helping to, I'm not sure break up is the right word, or stretch or limber up, but there's fascia that surrounds your muscles and connects your tissues, and it's connected from the bottom of your feet all the way through your body, through all your muscles, all the way up to the top of your head, which is why sometimes if you do something on your feet, you can feel it all the way up. It's because we are connected. And if the fascia is really tight, doing something like rolling it with a ball, it limbers it up. And if you've been sewing for a while or doing some other really stationary activity, these are nice and they're not expensive. I honestly think they were, I don't know, $12 something. They're just not expensive, and this is a treat you can give yourself every day. All right, the other place, even the better place than your feet to use the yoga balls. Here we go. Stand in front of a wall, in a relatively clear wall. Take the ball and place. No, that was wrong. We're going there later. Oh no, that was right. And I'm live. So yes, I'm going back to that. Here we go. You're going to see that part again. Stand in front of a wall, in a relatively clear wall. Take the ball and place it right below the top of your shoulder in this muscle area. And lean into the wall and move the ball around. Never, 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 never on your neck or spine. Stay away from the bone. You are massaging those muscles, and you can move the ball down. And depending on your leg strength, bend your knees and get lower. Move your feet farther from the wall. Oh, there's that spot. If any of you have had a deep tissue massage, you can find those tensed muscles and roll them out. And you control the pressure. Because if I don't want to apply so much pressure, all I have to do is not lean so hard into the ball. So I'm moving around in those muscles that are tense from me working at the keyboard. And I'm on my left side now. Honestly, my right side needs this more because I'm right-handed. So I'm going to come forward, grab the ball like this, and move it down to the inside of my shoulder blade. Oh goodness, that feels good. And you can move on top of your shoulder blade, but I typically don't because there's nerves there. Don't mess with your nerves. You want to be kind to your body. Those of you who are used to getting massages or who would really love to get a massage, this is a lot what this feels like. I want you to know that some people carry stress, anxiety, and emotions in their muscles. And it can be that if you find one of those knots in your muscles and you start working it out, you might have an emotional response. If that were the case, know that you are not alone. Be careful. Just know that this is a possibility. But most of the time, it's just a really nice way to work the kinks out of your shoulders and back. Oh, there's that muscle right there. So you don't need to see me work the other side. But I did want to show you this. For those of you who want a low body workout along with this, I'm going to go ahead and take this and move it lower right now. If you do move your feet farther away from the floor, you'd want to be barefoot and or on a mat. Be sure you're not going to slip. Brace your low body. Keep your knees bent but no farther forward than your ankles. And you can get a little bit of a low body workout as you raise and lower using your feet, calves, quads, and glutes to move yourself on the ball. But you don't have to do that. You can stay higher and get the same kind of pressure against the ball. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, see you in a minute. And here I am. Okay, so the balls are really nice. And you can use them anywhere you can think about using them. They come in a set in this mesh bag. So let's say you have an arm that needs worked out. You can place the balls on a table or the floor and roll it as a unit up and down your arm, the backs of your arms, the front of your arms. These are a really nice toy that you will love them. Okay, so that's with the balls. Now I want to show you a thing, this doorway push-ups. Here we go. I'm in my dining room. This is the door to the kitchen. It's about 36 inches wide. And these are doorway push-ups. A lot of you have probably done these before. Always know with any exercise, if you have physical problems that prevent you from doing this sort of thing, or even if you think you do, if you need to talk to a doctor before you do this, by all means do. But this is a doorway push-up. Place your palms against the door jamb, fingers upraised. I've got my feet not very far back from the opening of the door, maybe 8 inches. Stand with your upper body, crown of your head high, knees softly bent, feet hip distance apart. And then let your weight come forward toward the front of your feet and use your arms to keep you from falling on your face onto the kitchen floor. And then push back with your arms. What you'll notice is that your arms have to support you, so there's weight bearing there. Your chest opens up. Your shoulder blades pull together behind you. Your shoulders open. If you have rotator cuff problems, this is definitely something I would talk to a doctor before I did. And forward. It's not a competition to see how far into the doorway you can go. All you're doing is a gentle stretch, and only you know what is comfortable for you. So if your gentle stretch looks like this, great, do that. If your gentle stretch takes you farther forward, okay. If you are a person who might like more of a challenge, you can step your feet farther away from the doorway and lean more into it. The farther your feet are, the more weight bearing you'll have in front of you. Only you know how much you want to do. And you might notice, I'm turning my head and talking to the camera, but when I'm actually really doing this for real, I keep my face forward, my nose in line with my pelvis, and I focus on what I'm doing as I lean forward and stretch. Exhale forward. Inhale back to neutral. All right. I hope you enjoy those. They're really nice after you've been sewing a while. All right. You know, some people do those in a corner, but I got to thinking about it, and you have to bend your arms funny. I don't think so. For myself, I'm always going to find a doorway. Now, Vicki asked a question about how do you prevent sliding out of your sewing chair? Well, my sewing chair has a fabric seat, and so there is no sliding. If the weight of your body, let's say when you're sewing, if your head is high, your core is here, you are balanced over your bottom. Unless the seat tilts you forward, you shouldn't be sliding. But it's also possible that some people have, like if this is the leading edge of the chair seat and here's the chair back, sometimes they tilt like that and your hips would take you back. I don't want that either. My chair seat is actually pretty level. There's no sliding. And so you might want to look at your chair. Now, does that mean you have to buy another chair? No, wouldn't do that. I would maybe try something like a yoga blanket, a piece of foam, a something, and fold it in such a way so that you can get a level base to work on. Watch how high your chair is too, because if you're struggling to keep your feet flat on the floor, that means your chair seat might be poking up into the bottom of your thighs. You know, if your feet are numb when you stand up, chances are good you're having your blood supply affected. I mean, there's kind of a lot of that sort of mechanics going on, and it's going to vary from person because we're all different heights, and your chairs are different, and your sewing machines are different heights, and your sewing machine tables are different, which brings me to the fact that all of that works together. It took me a while to get the adjustment on my chair to be so that when I'm sewing at the machine, I've got my hands comfortably in front of me working with my elbows. They're bent, but not bent a lot, you know, maybe a little more than a 90-degree angle. I have to think about it, maybe a little more. But when I'm sewing, I have to look down, but I'm keeping my head still balanced over my body. I know, and there's a lot of tweaking to get everything right so that you can do that. I know some people like to tilt the bed of their machine, like put something either underneath the back feet of the table or under the back feet of the machine. I've been wondering about that because especially the fancier, more expensive machines, they are engineered to work flat. I am unsure what changing the level of the machine, I don't know what that would do to all the mechanics on the inside. I leave my machine level, and that's what I do. I might not need to, but that's what I do. Okay, so doorway push-ups. All right, one more thing before we go. I'm going to stand, and if you are where you can stand as well, I want you to, if you can, only if you can. You know, some people, standing is hard, so if you can't stand, don't do it. Stand with your feet hip distance apart. Soft bend in your knees. Don't hyperextend your knees. Roll your shoulders gently up and back, and as you go back and lower your shoulders, turn your palms forward. Relax. Let's do that again now that you know where we're going. Inhale your shoulders up. Exhale as you roll them down, bringing your palms forward. Leave your palms there, and you can sort of relax your shoulders, but there's tension there because you are holding them back. And that is really maybe where you want your shoulders a good bit of the time. It's easy for us to let the shoulders droop forward, and it's that motion that puts them back where you want them. So as you're working through the day, if you've been hunched forward, it's a simple thing to stand up. And if you get, depending on your chair, you can do this sitting. Just roll your shoulders up and back, bringing your palms forward. With the crown of your head high and your palms forward and your body mostly relaxed, once more, tilt your right ear toward your right shoulder. And then bring your head up. Tilt your left ear toward your left shoulder. And bring your head up. Tilt your chin to your chest. And bring your head forward. Now, purse your lips as if you are going to breathe in through a straw. Soft bend in your knees. And then breathe in forcefully through that straw. And as you're doing that, zip up your lower abdominals. Remember back in the day when we wore hip huggers or really tight jeans, and you would reach down and you would grab that zipper and you would pull it up, and in order to get it to zip, you would have to suck in your low belly. Right there, those are your transverse abdominals. So with your shoulders back, your neck relaxed, your head balanced, you can breathe. If you were holding your breath, you can let it go. But pay attention that when you breathe out, are you letting go of those abdominals, and what effect does it have on your low back? So once more, breathe in through the straw, consciously zip up your lower abdominals. You'll feel your glutes tighten. It may pull your pelvis, the top of your pelvis, just a little bit back, so that your pelvis isn't tilted way forward. So pay attention to how this feels as well, because when you're standing, like I stand at my computer all day long, and I have to regain this posture often because a lot of low back pain comes from weak lower abdominals. So learning how to control the strength of your lower abdominals and getting them strong, that too can help your low back. And if you are sitting, I'm going back to sitting here. If I roll my shoulders back, place my hands palms up on my thighs. If I purse my lips and breathe in, it's not quite the same. The air wants to go to your higher chest and rib area more than your abdominals. Maybe instead, Imagine zipping up that zipper while you're sitting and get the feeling of strength there that helps you maintain your balance, strength, and good posture. All right, so I'm going to recap because, yeah, I've gone more than 30 minutes again. So remember, always, no matter what you're doing, remember to keep your head balanced over your body and the crown of your head high as often as you can. Do your best to keep your shoulders not stressfully pulled back, but your chest open and your shoulder blades a little bit more together than they might normally be. All right. I think that's the end of all the posture business. I want to remind you that my email address is becky.pieceofcake@gmail.com. And if you've got topics to talk about, please do suggest them. I've got a list going, but I can't remember what I'm talking about next week. I'll talk about something. And then I will see you next Wednesday at 2 o'clock Central Time when we can take a time out together once again. And until then, may you have many happy stitches.